Today we're going to go down this list, or these two lists, and we're going to pull those motor mounts out of there, and we are going to plug that light in. So I got to climb in there and pull these mounts out. My understanding is that it's easier to put the motor in with the mounts on the motor, is what they tell me. I got to work on that a little bit. I got my list, and I have a new treat today. The dog soldier is here. The dog soldier has arrived. And there's the dog soldier with the powder coated. Well, I did this a couple of years ago now. This was one of my proudest powder coating moments, was making Tahome here. So this was a chrome thing that came from J.C. Whitney. I put the copper. See, I did all the black tail, black legs and mane, and then I put him through one cycle of powder coating just to get his eyes. And then I clear coated it, and that has held up unbelievably marvelously. So we got some paintage coming off there, but that's not the big problem with her. She ain't got no air conditioning working, so it's in there, it's just not working. And I seem to people gravitate here for there's one of those guys with those little tiny John Deeres. Those guys, so annoying. I don't know how big that sucker is. That's taking up 2 lanes. But anyway, yeah, they're doing some major dude kind of farming around here. So we'll get that in the shop later today. But today, I'm going to Loctite. I just gave up and spent the $23 on that just to have enough. I'm tired of having 15 little bottles of the stuff. So let's unwrap her. Now the thing about pulling your bag off is you got to keep your bag clean too. So you don't just throw it on the ground. I generally try to keep her clean. So I had that piece of plastic that I used, but I got little faith in that anymore. So just put her somewhere where it's not too dirty. So we're going to take these. I haven't tightened these up, and so I'm going to take these. See, I can take that off with my fingers. And put some Loctite on those and cinch these down to the appropriate 8 to 15. I tell you, man, just almost can't have. I've got one duplicate. Let's see. I don't know. That might be the tool. I don't mind these spring-loaded things. This was my first torque wrench. That one's probably a little too big for the task. Okay, well let's do that. I'm going to probably the steering wheel was off a little bit on the TR4 here. So yesterday I gave it half a turn on the tie rods, one in, one out, to get the wheels a little liner, and that hopefully will align the steering wheel. I put new boots on this not long ago. A video lost, and let's see, and that kind of threw me off. See how nice those boots are? And there's my new alternator up in there. But yeah, I had to give these a little bit of a twist. In this car, it's very important to that coolant right there is from me putting that fancy thermostat in it. Yeah. The important thing is you got to have your steering wheel aligned properly, because there's a little clip with a little notch in it, and that self-corrects your turn signals. So having the steering wheel straight in this is a must. As with most cars, it ought to be done. And don't go to Chapel Hill Tire for that, because I went there and you didn't say align the steering wheel. I said align the wheels, and that's one of the wheels. Boy, those people were shysters. Can you imagine? And so we're going to test drive this a little bit. But I'm going to put that wrap fiberglass wrap right there back up here, mainly because I want it off the floor. I think it's a good idea. I'm going to start up as high as I can and wrap this. And I'm all distracted. Let's get back to the bottom. Okay. So I got a lot to do today. I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice, cool day. I think today it's mid-June, and it can't be 68 degrees in here. Wow, that's pretty cool for this part of the woods here. I've just taken the motor mounts out of this, and boy, I didn't realize that there's only 2 half-inch bolts that hold the mount to the frame. But if you look close at it, you can see it's got that. You can go back and forth on it, and that makes it somewhat more adjustable and nice. So there that one is. So let's. That looks like the way to do this, don't it? It looks like that's what you would want to do. Put these on the block, and then put them on the car because they have these wings also. So, boy, I went around here 5 or 6 times to get those torqued. So, yeah, I think that's definitely the way. Because, see, these aren't adjustable. So, when Mick and I put these on a year or 2 ago, we were struggling like unbelievable hard to put them on. So, the other thing that you notice, too, is that it's obviously designed to do that way because the bolts happen to have some half-inch high collar, old British type locking washers. And these are the bolts. I guess those are factory. They're like body bolts because they have that little guide right there. So once you get that going in there, all's well. I think I'm going to run it's half-inch whatever it is. Because when I go to put these in, you don't want these bad boys here fighting you now, do you? Those high locks mean business. Now, some engineers say locking washers don't work. Those work pretty good. Work better than than this kind. I mean, those work okay, but that's the American style. So let's run the tap over those. So in case you were wondering, these are 7/16 24, and you're probably wondering how I got a 3/8 drive. Well, I got these babies here. So yeah, and they're slide on, and you don't have to run that big baton thing. I think it's 7/16 24. If you do this and clean it out, don't use any brake clean on that because you'll take your paint off. Yeah, let's take a look here. 7/16 14. Sorry, 7/16 14. And but get all the muck out of there you can. Okay. Yeah, you can see it sort of the junk falling out of there. And this is not the place to have failure. Just do it with your hands. And now let's just we'll get some air in a second. Toot that out of there. See what I got out of there? That's messy stuff, and that just messes you up when you're tightening down your bolts. This is what'll happen to you, and happened to Mick and myself when we were doing this before. It's all up to you, but what you want to use here. So you can tell that a thick wall socket is going to bind here a little bit, and sometimes worse than other times. And that's what makes it so hard to do this when you're hanging upside down and backwards under the threads and everything. So this is the way to do it with some blue Loctite. So yeah, that just fouls. So you got a clear shot with the ones that go to the frame. So there you go. So I got I think these are the original brass drain plugs, and I of course put on a little can't hurt none. This stuff right here So it's just, I don't know, better to be safe than sorry. So I think that I am not going to fit the oil filter holder thing with the bypass valve in it. So here's the other side, and so that's all in. These are 7/16, and these bolts are original. So anyway, she's ready to turn over and clean out the heads, the head studs, these for head bolts, and fit the heads, and then I've got to set out, the way they go. These things are really painful, so I've got everything here ready to go for that. So I'm trying to clear my path here some. Now I won't be putting the heads on permanently today, because I got to tell you, I'd just rather put them on with the block in the car. That's just, I've thought about it and gone back and forth and back and everything else, and that's just the way I think I see fit. It's lighter, it's easier, less danger, I hope, and you can get the brackets on the block easier, and you're not picking everything up by the intake manifold and all that other stuff. I mean, I see guys do it, and they're more lucky than me, I guess. All right, we've got this in pretty good apple pie order, I think. And as you can tell, I got the head flat right here. We're going to dry fit this, and let's take a look down in here. Those look pretty doggone crusty, so I'm glad the AccuVac's right there. So let's tap these out. I don't want any false tights. That one's actually a little rusted. And so let's see what we got here. And my belief is that this is a 1/2 inch 13. I've got all 20 bolts laying out here. I'm going to clean these out, vacuum them out. Everything here's been cleaned and WD'd and everything is fine. So there's nothing here to worry about. Just have to be very careful with this thing, okay? We're dry fit with our 5/16 studs, which can be rather problematic if you're not careful. That one goes on the other side. So this is what you're going to do. Somebody stole this towel. Wasn't me, because I don't travel. See, that one's a little hair longer. So you got to do this. And then, oh, this is the one that goes over there. So, painful to watch, isn't it? Okay, well, let's not watch it then. Okay, so get yourself some type of device and measure what you got, okay? And then you come over here and you can see what's going to work. That ain't going to work, so it's them things. I have a feeling that those two are those, but we know that we know the thread depths, and we also know this bolt's not correct. I don't know where that came from, but it ought to be okay. So I think I've got them sorted. I kind of remember this one going here because that's where an earthing strap goes, and there's one on each side. So I don't know what I was thinking over on the other side. So I got them right where I want them, and so I've got my layout here ready to put them where they belong, and then we'll do the other side. I'm not gonna show you that. It's gonna be the same thing, but unless I run into something funky. And you remember, this is what holds the dipstick. I guess I'll show the dipstick thing, Why wouldn't I guess.